Dumelang and happy Sunday. Yo, it's okay again. Today church was amazing. Church was so good. Church was so good. The message that was shared today was amazing, very relevant. And I wasn't serving today, so yeah, I got to chill. So I wanted to do the first part, God and healing. I wanted to start on it today. There's something that's just been on my mind. When you're going through stuff now, I think I struggled a lot with my healing because one, I wanted to do it by myself. I wanted to do it by myself without God. And number two, the healing took long for me because I was holding a grudge, right? I want to be honest and so that I can help anyone else out there who's going through any kind of breakup. And a breakup, I told you guys, it's not just a romantic relationship. It can also be like in a friendship type situation, whatever, family, whatever, right? As long as there was some sort of a relation, and now that is irretrievably broken, right? My first real heartbreak was a friend of mine who broke my heart many years ago. We were good friends, and then I realized at some point that she really didn't have my best interest at heart. She only cared about herself. That was my first real heartbreak, to be quite honest. It took me about 2 years to get over that heartbreak. 2 years, Lord? It took me about 2 years now. About 2 years, right? To get over that heartbreak. Yeah. So, we know that when we're looking at healing, we're talking about heartbreak, right? We know the stages of grief, right? So I wrote them down here. So there's denial, there's anger, there's bargaining, there's depression, there's acceptance. A lot of us get stuck for anger because when the breakup happens, with women, a lot of the time, you're in denial when the thing happens, the thing that breaks, the straw that breaks the camel's back. When that thing happens, that's when women are in denial. And normally we work through that ourselves. Because with women, normally before we leave a friendship or a relationship, we leave emotionally first before we leave physically. So we leave, we check out, then once we've checked out, only then do we then leave the actual situation, right? Which on my side, I shared that was the situation with me. So fine, denial, we get through denial. Then the anger part, guys, is problematic because a lot of us get stuck for the anger part. And the reason why we get stuck is because we hold a grudge, because we want to avenge ourselves. It's not for us to do that. You know, the thing about forgiveness is that the minute you're holding on to something, you have to live with that every day. You think about kana mang wenting. Every single day, that person is living rent-free in your mind and in your heart. But the minute you choose to let go and say, it really hurt me, I'm still going to process the grief, right? Some people say they choose not to forget. You can say that you're not going to forget so that you know how to conduct yourself in future or what boundaries to set, But you have to forgive, even if you don't know why. On my healing journey, the thing that made me I was in a cycle, right? And I wasn't getting better was because I would get angry and then I would lash out. I would get angry and then I would lash out. So I would be chilling on a random truth and then remember, no, you're gonna do me like that? You're gonna do me like that? Then I would spiral. And after some time, I started to realize, and this is only because of God, that I was just not winning. I was sending myself in a tailspin. Because I'd be good. A week later, I'd remember, someone did this to me or whatever. I'm angry. And then I would go from 0 to 100. So the devil was basically just playing with my emotions. Because the smallest thing would trigger me. And I remember watching one of the sermons that Pastor Philip was talking about forgiveness, how when you forgive, it's not for the other person, it's for you. Not only is it for you, it's also for your relationship with God. Forgive. Let God deal with the person and the situation. God knows everything. We only know the information that we are privy to, which is like a speck of sand. See how much sand there is at the beach? One of the sand particles. That's the information that we have. Maybe even smaller than that. God knows everything. Leave them to God. That person is God's child anyway. Leave them to God. I know it's so easy for me to say because obviously I have done the work at the therapy, but seriously, forgive. For the sake of your relationship with God, for the sake of you seeing heaven, forgive. Don't dwell on the why. The why has nothing to do with you. The why has to do with the other person. Focus on fixing you. You're already in the situation that you are in because that other person didn't factor you in, wasn't considerate, and I don't know the situation. So think, forgive for your own health, forgive for your own salvation. And the minute that you forgive and you stop trying to understand the why, your perspective shifts. You're not going to be triggered anymore. When people talk about that situation, you're not going to be angry. You'll be able to start looking at yourself and say, okay, what could I have done better? And you can work on you. You can say, I could have done this better. I could have been less angry. I could have done this. Then you can work on yourself and then set boundaries, the boundaries that you need to set. But you have to forgive. And it's a truth that nobody wants to hear. You can't move from that, whatever situation you're in, into another friendship, for example, without having forgiven. Because you're going to punish the person that you're with now, the new friend, or the new boyfriend, or the new girlfriend, or the new whatever. Forgive. You don't have to understand why. It's not for you to know why. But God does not let things happen to us all for nothing. He knows why whatever happened. The best thing I ever did for myself was forgiving. When God was like, let these people go. There were other situations that happened along the way where I felt like with people who I felt like, for example, were not supportive of me, did not show up for me, and whatnot. I was mad. And I was like, one day when I'm up, I'm going to do this and this. I'll never do anything for them. God is like, let that go. Forgive them. Take the speck out of your own eye before you go take the speck out of your brother or your sister's eye. And you know what? It took some time, but I did it. I forgave. It's not for me to be mad about. Vengeance is not mine, but the Lord's. So I'm not saying that let people walk all over you, no. I'm saying when people have hurt you, process your emotions, get to a point where you say, you know what, I may not understand why you did this. Even if you're just talking to yourself and you're having this conversation with yourself, I may not understand why you did this, but I forgive you. I forgive you. You don't have to communicate the forgiveness. You don't have to reconcile. No, you don't have to reconcile. That is completely up to you. And then you need to set new boundaries now to God, because now you know the level of exposure. Set up new boundaries to guard you properly, to guard your heart properly, right? And then once you've done that, you're good to go. That thing is not going to linger in your mind. You're not going to be thinking about, you're going to let it go. You're going to let it go. You're going to see that God is going to keep on blessing you. Because, guys, in this life, we are going to be wounded by people. And this is what Pastor Philip keeps saying. We are going to be wounded by people. Even in church, people in church wound us. We are part of the church. We wound other people. Learn to forgive. Life has to go on. You can't live your life on needy enemies, on needy haters. We can't live like that. It's not healthy. There's people who genuinely won't like you, and that's okay. And you keep them at arm's length, but we forgive them. Because God will deal with them in their hearts. I know I'm giving advice right now that really just sounds, especially when you're going through a heartbreak or when you're angry. Forgive them. Trust me. You forgiving them is what's going to defeat them. It's like someone coming to you looking for a fight and you don't give them that fight. People will intentionally knowing that you're not going to forgive them, and they are holding you back from getting into heaven. Don't do that. Don't give them the satisfaction. Don't. When you forgive people, you are doing it for yourself, and also doing it for the relationship that you have with Christ. You're not doing it for the person. God loves us so much, and He wants us to live in freedom. And part of being free is not walking around carrying grudges the whole day, day in, day out, because that literally weighs on you physically. Like, you can spiritually and physically, it weighs on you, it ages you. God doesn't want that for us. We are His children. He can deal with each and every single one of us. The more you're holding on to a grudge, the more you start checking that person's Instagram and oh, Motowa driver, even though they did me wrong, then you start being mad at God. and start being mad at God. It's just something to think about. I know it's a very different perspective. I just wanted to start off God and healing like this. I know it's a very different perspective, but a lot of people who are going through things struggle with forgiving, and a lot of people who say that they can't hear God, we find, or I've seen it to be that they struggle with forgiveness. Once you forgive, there's other parts of your heart that start to be opened up. There's other parts of your thinking that start to be opened up. And you start to get more clarity about where you are going. Because sometimes those people or those situations are what's holding you back from being better. Forgiveness. So yeah, it'd be like that.